Welcome to the Arsenic Theory channel. On this episode, I'm actually going to talk about an article. I was thinking about it on my way to the gym today. Actually, all the time I had quite a long commute. So many people, I think, had cabin fever today. So because of the warmer temperatures, everybody came out. But so let me switch right to it. It's called Why No One Really Quits Google or Facebook. And I was gonna title this episode, I haven't decided yet, I might decide in the morning, but I'm gonna title this episode as There is no lack of information. There is lack of concerned people. And the reason I say that, there is no really lack of information nowadays. Everything is so freely available at your fingertips at all times. And one thing that is lacking, in particular in the news media, is any kind of thorough analysis. So when, I came across this article, today, it got me actually thinking, became kind of intrigued that, somebody went to length to actually do, a quick analysis on, Google, Facebook, and actually look at it from a different angle. As many of you know, Google and Facebook have been, on the first pages of the news. So now what we call, I don't know what they call them now. Basically, we've been bombarded with all this news about, all these scandals that have been broken in regards to, Google and Facebook surveilling us or doing some other fishy activities. But I mean, this author over here, Danny Crichton, not sure. But he looks at it from a different angle. He starts it off by saying another week, another set of scandals at Facebook and Google. So apparently there is some kind of other, scandal that they got involved in. So this is one of the linked articles. And so let's see, Facebook and Google landed in hot water with Apple this week after two investigations by TechCrunch revealed the misuse of internal-only certificates. Okay, so this article doesn't really go into that, and that's not the whole point. But the ultimate question that the author of this article asks is that is anything going to change? But will anything change? And I think we know the answer to this question: no. And it's never going to change because the vast majority of users just don't care one iota about privacy or these scandals. Ultimately, it always comes down to people, how they're going to react, what they're going to do in order for, these big firms to actually listen and change. Many of the YouTubers have been taken down for their, political speech, essentially. They've been censored, taken down, their videos demonetized. And why? Because there is a segment of population which, the right-wingers and, the conservative voices dub liberals, but they are very active in the media sphere, especially in the social media. And they will take down anybody that they do not like. And they are they have so much energy, they have so much zealousy that, they will take anyone down if they want to. And of course, the right-wingers, they, for some reason, don't have that. So let's go back to the article. Privacy advocates will tell you that the lack of a wide boycott against Google and particularly Facebook is symptomatic of a lack of information. If people really understood what was happening with their data, they would galvanize immediately for other platforms. And they basically then draw analogy with some European policy that is instituted, where basically it wants consumers to make an informed choice. But the people that have been controlling our minds, the Edward Bernays, the all those different other PR firms from the Madison Avenue, they know that what guides the masses is not some kind of intellectual prowess or some kind of facts or analysis. No, what guides people are emotions and the irrational inner self. And I think that's what Google and Facebook count upon, because these devices, these applications are so not only convenient, but they do wonders for people. They almost draw you into this whole different new universe. And people stay there and they don't want to leave, and they get mesmerized by all this by this technology. So the author raises a very important question of what will change, and is there a problem of lack of information? I mean, all the major media outlets have reported on the scandals, and what happened? Nothing really. The CEO of Google came out and did some kind of runaround and didn't really answer any of the questions when he was grilled by the Congress, by the committee. But what ultimately happened? Nothing. They're still, collecting all your data. They're still hiring all these different companies to analyze that data so they can actually cater and market, products and other things to you. And I'm not talking just about, and I'm not just talking about some kind of, cookies they put on your computer. I mean, they truly analyze your behavior online so they can actually tailor make not only marketing campaigns, but they can actually, nudge you. They can actually nudge you, like Cass Sunstein talked about. They can nudge you. I know I said it 3 times, but it's super important. They nudge you in the direction that they want. You understand? So, I mean, you are a free human being, but when somebody is clandestinely or inadvertently nudges you in a certain direction that they want, I mean, if that's not infringement on freedom and liberty, I don't know what is. So let's go back to the article here. So I don't believe, the author contends here, I don't believe more information would help, and I reject the mentality behind it. It's reminiscent of the political policy expert who says that if only voters had more information, then of course they would make a right choice, basically, or that some some religious sects and fundamentalist Christians say the same thing. Or if only they understand and read the Bible carefully. You have to carefully read the Word of God, and then they would basically believe the tenets that we are propagating. So the same thing over here. Certain people think that okay, if they had all the information, yes, if people were their eyes would open and they would be more awake, and we need to go out and awake them. I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, if they're not doing anything when media on the national television tells them that they're collecting everything about you, and people say, well, I mean, I have nothing to hide. Well, what about the Western concepts of privacy? What about the Western concepts of innocent until proven guilty? And basic other liberties, I mean, when they are intruding into your data and what you do at home or on your computer or in your cell phone, that's like invasion into your safe space, into your castle. And I mean, these are Western ideals that are just being pulverized by Google and Facebook, and people are not doing much about that. I'm actually welcoming when I talk to people, and they tell me that they are not on Facebook. They don't really do much on the internet of stuff, and if they're decent human beings, I have much respect for them. Of course, if they smell of booze and they seem half crazy, I mean, I have no respect for them at that point. But I mean, if a person just tells me, and he appears or she appears to be quite sane, as far as I can judge, and they tell me that they're not on Facebook, I actually respect that. I think more people should get off that platform. It's nothing but cute puppies and showing photos of yourself to the rest of the world with your friends and family, so you can appear normal and happy. And who knows, half of them are miserable, half of them probably are happy. But I mean, I don't understand, why do you need to show all your photos for the rest of the world to see? Unless you are feeling inadequate, unless you are feeling unhappy, and you want to present this fake image that, hey, look at me, look at this photo, I have the kids and my wife there, or I have all these friends around me, look at that, I'm normal, I fit in, I am part of the society, look at that. If you felt adequate and fine, you don't need to boast photos with your bunch of your friends or photos with your family. You already know that you're fine, you're sane. Just continue living and be happy. So let's continue the article. Okay, so I don't believe more information would help. Alternative exist, right, for every feature and app offered by these companies. And then he goes through, as you can see in the article here, he goes through, for example, you can use Signal for chatting, DuckDuckGo for search, Fastmail for email, Flickr for photos, and on and on. And some of them he claims have, like more novel features, something, better designs, etc. And then he says that some of these products cost actually money, you have to pay, they're not free. But I mean, the bottom line is, when you're getting something for free, I mean, like the old phrase goes, even the cheese in the mousetrap is not free, right? I mean, when you get that cheese, you get clamped and you die, and then they throw you in the garbage. So I mean, yeah, it's such a temptation to take a free to take something for free, because you think that there are no strings attached. Well, there are strings attached. They call them data cables, and they get all your data so they can sell it to other marketing companies, or some data mining companies, or other data analytics companies, or whatever. But they are getting something in return. They're getting they're getting you in return. They're getting all your behaviors, they're getting all your thought processes that take place in your head, inside of your head, in the intimate parts of your head. They take all of that, because I mean, when you act, when you write something, when you are even thinking about it, and you are searching for it in Google, or your activities on Facebook, all these are indicative of who you are. And obviously they use that for themselves. So there is nothing free out there. So I mean, I encourage you to read this article. It's like pretty short, but it's so good. I mean, like I said, there is lack of analysis on the news nowadays, and this is kind of a very great refresher for all of us. And let's see, so what is the conclusion that the author draws here? One of the lessons I have learned, perhaps the most important you can learn about consumer products, is just how much people are willing to give up for free things. They are willing to give up privacy for free email. They're willing to allow their stockbroker to help other actively trade against them for a free okay, blah blah blah. People love free stuff, particularly when the harms are difficult to perceive. Yeah, the harms are difficult to perceive. I mean, what harm can you think about in a, just something that is so innocent as having access to your email, right? But I mean, when they are getting access to your email, they're getting access to all your conversations. And with the artificial intelligence that we have now, with the data analytics that we have, it's so easy nowadays to capture that data and use it to somebody else's advantage. Definitely not yours. And the moral of the story here is that there is no lack of information. Everything is out there. Everything that the author here cites, all these different articles that he, hyperlinked, everything is, public source. So ultimately, there is lack of concerned people. There is lack of people who will actually react to the changes in their environment. They almost, these people that have no reaction, I would say they are akin to somebody who has Stockholm syndrome. The person that falls in love with his or her abuser. In this case, all these data mining companies such as Facebook and Google that have admittedly, and so many articles, so many books, so many congressional hearings have been held, how they, collect the data on us, and what are we doing in order to prevent that from happening. I actually, welcome people, like I said, those who don't have an account on Facebook, who don't do anything on it. I think there should be more people like that. We have, so many opportunities to connect with people in real space. We don't have to be there in digital space alone, where, people now mostly live. There is a real space out there. There are coffee shops. There is, the streets. There are clubs, there are bars, there are so many social places where we can meet new people and connect on a real level, not on some, fake, digital level that is not connection at all. At the end of the day, these are no real connection anyway. And how do you pay for that? Well, you pay for that by giving up yourself, your personality, all your intimate information to these abusers, to these tech giants, who will then use that information to drive you to whatever direction they please. And here's right, we live in, the system that we live in is not totalizing system. We do have choices, and that's something that I think is a positive note here, that consumers do have choices here, at least when it comes to consumer apps. Credit scores and the reporting bureaus are a whole other beast, but we do have, especially when it comes to the questions of privacy, and things like that, we do have the freedom, and that's something that we should embrace and maybe refresh our memories about that we do have freedom, and we need to cherish it, exercise it, and remember that your liberty is the most amazing thing on earth. Go out there and practice it. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to put some likes and subscribe if you haven't done so. Have a good one.